Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be live streaming another Frontend Mentor Challenge. And I do realize that I haven't yet completed this, but that's okay. Today I want to do something very simple, and I'm going to be doing this challenge, the Testimonials Grid Section. So if you're in the chat, you can type !project and it will give you the details of the challenge. Now you can head over to frontendmentor.io/challenges, and then you can just scroll down as I have, and then you can find the Testimonials Grid section. And then all you have to do is click the challenge right there. Click on Start Challenge, which will it should download the starter files for you. And yes, I've already completed this in case you're wondering. Download the starter files. Really? What's happening? Okay, there you go. So once it downloads the starter files, then you can head over to whatever place it was downloaded in and just extract it. Extract the zip file, and then where is it? I don't know why it does this. And then you can just open this up with Visual Studio Code or whatever text editor you prefer, really. Now, before I begin, I just want to mention that I'm going to be doing this using vanilla HTML, CSS, and maybe, no, there's no need for JavaScript in this project. So I'm going to do it using vanilla HTML and CSS. And the reason why is because I had thought of doing it in React, but that seemed a bit overkill considering it's not really a big project. And the challenge for this project actually is the grid section, which is CSS. So we don't really need React. And one thing that I would like to mention is, excuse me. One thing I do want to mention is that I usually give updates of live streams and projects that are going to be uploaded to YouTube and projects coming up on Twitter and on YouTube in my discussion section in my channel. So you can follow me on Twitter, and you can as well subscribe to my channel on YouTube so that you don't miss anything. Currently, YouTube has flagged my channel as made for kids, and I don't really understand why. I've tried to inquire from them, but I get no reply. And I've tried other solutions that they recommend in their support page, but none of them really work. So at this point, I don't really have a choice except just to continue and hope that it changes in the future. But other than that, I just like to say that please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, of course. And then let's begin with our challenge for today. Okay, so this is what we get when you open this up with Visual Studio Code. We get the design files, we get the images, and we get the git ignore and the index.html, which is our most important file. And then we're going to create our style CSS, which will house our styling. So right away, let's begin. And I would just like to perform a bit of cleanup where I'm going to remove this comment. I'm going to remove this comment as well, reduce the size of the HTML. Oops. And then I am going to, that's it. Let me change this challenge here. The name here, the title, I'm going to say Testimonials Grid Section, like that. And then I'm going to create a style CSS file immediately. So right below this, I'm going to say link this to style.css. Remember, I have not created it. So let me head over and create it just right there. I'm going to say style.css. And then I'm going to grab these two and then remove this. And then I'm going to paste this inside my style CSS, add some spacing. And then we can finally begin working on our grid section. Now this really isn't hard, and you know what, I don't really need this attribution. If you're doing this challenge on Frontend Mentor and you would like to submit it, then please include this with an href to your Git repository or to your website, whichever you prefer. But since I've already done this, I don't really need to do this once again, so I'm just going to remove it. And then I'm going to remove this as well, because that's the styling for the attribution section. Excuse me. And right away, I'm going to say, let me check my design files. Design for the mobile first. I'm not using any libraries for this. I'm going to be using vanilla CSS. So we have this section. So let me see, I have the image and this. I want this to be inside. I want this to be inside a flex box so that I can display this as flex and this as flex. And then I have a title here, and then I have the description. Okay, that's easy enough. Let me just place all of this inside a div with a class of container. Grab this, go to the bottom and paste it right there. And then I'm going to create this first div with the class of cards like that. And then inside this div with the class of cards, I'm going to create another div, and this div is going to house my image. So let me give it a class of image. I would just like to create this first grid first of all, so that I can, picture what the others are going to look like. And then inside this div with the class of image, I'm going to say, how do I say this? Let me create another div and add the image here, and the source for this is going to be /images, and it's called Daniel, like that. And then below this, I'm going to add another div with an h2. Wait. Should I say, let me say an h4 that says Daniel Clifford, so basically his name. Cut this out, paste it here, and then below this add a paragraph saying this. Cut this out, paste it here. Rather than a paragraph, let me say small tag, which is an inline element. I hope it doesn't give me issues though, because this is block. And then outside this div with a class of image, and inside this div with a class of cards, let me add an h4. Let me add an h4 here that says this. And then below this, let me add a paragraph that says this. Cut this out and just paste it in. Okay. Now, one thing that I should mention is that I have format on save on, and I would like for all this not to be formatted, because it would become just very hard to copy paste everything. So let me see if I can comment it, and then it should be fine. I think so. I really hope so. And then let me open this up with the live server so that I can see what we get on the screen. And we should get this. Okay, now let me go inside my CSS and let me reset everything, and I'm going to say margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing, set this to border box like that. And then I'm going to say, what's this first class? The class with the class of cards, the div with the class of cards. And I'm going to say, inside this div with the class of cards, I want to target the div with the class of image, like that. Excuse me. And then inside this div with the class of image, I'm going to say display flex, like that. And it should display flex on the image as well as these two. And then I'm going to say align item center, like that. And then right inside this same class, I'm going to copy it down and target the image. And I'm going to say that for the image, I want the border radius to be 50%, which will make the image rounded like that. And then I'm going to say margin right for the image should be 10 pixels so that it pushes away from this just a bit. Okay, that's looking nice. And what else can we do? I can go inside the cards class. Let me just confirm this. The cards class is everything inside this. Okay, that's correct. So let me go inside the cards class at the top here. Oops, I'm going to target the cards class, and I'm going to say padding should be, let me say 20 pixels all around. Push that inwards, and then I'm going to go inside the container class. Remember, the container houses everything. Okay, so I'm going to say inside the container class, I'm going to give this container, let me give it a background color of red first of all so that I can see how this displays. Now see that I don't want the padding to be I want some padding, sorry. I want some padding from this margin so that this pushes inwards. So let me grab this and just push it up like that. And let me change this to margin, like that. And then inside here, let me say padding of 20 pixels. We should now push this inwards. And let me say border radius of, let's say 10 pixels. We should make this rounded. Oops, nope, that's the wrong class. That's the wrong class. I should go inside, wait, what am I doing? It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Oops. Go inside here, give this a background color of purple. Give that a background color of purple. And then remove this background color of red. And then you'll notice that now this has a border radius. So this is working correctly. And then let me go inside this second, let me target this H4. This is the bad idea. Let me change this to H3s so that they don't conflict with this, okay? So that I can go inside the H4. So I'm inside the grids, inside the cards class, and I'm targeting the H4, okay? So I'm going to say inside the cards class, I want to target the H4 and say that margin on the bottom should be 20 pixels, which will push away from this paragraph. Looking nice, looking nice. And then actually, you know what, let me say margin on the top and bottom to be, let me say 10 pixels on the top, 0 on the left and right, and then 20 pixels on the bottom, which will cause it to push away from this image as well. So let me save that. And you notice we have a bit of spacing. Let me increase the font size. Let me say font size 24 pixels. Actually, it's okay. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. The font size 24 pixels. Reduce this to 22, or rather 20. Isn't 20 an H4 size? Sorry. Okay, it's not. Okay. So we have an H4 of 20 pixels font size. Let me go inside the cards and let me target the paragraph. And this paragraph is going to have a font size of, let's say, a font size of what? Let's say 16. Though, wait, the normal is already 16. What am I doing? Yeah, the normal is already 16. Let me change this to 17. Just make it just a bit bigger so that we have this. And then, let's see, what else do I do? Let me change this text color to white. So I'm going to go inside this cards class. Let me change the color to white. Now this is going to conflict a bit once we do the other grids because the other cards have a background color of white, some of them. If you check in the mobile design such as this, but I'm going to show you how we're going to deal with that in a moment. Okay, and I don't have this image, so let me add this image, right? Let me add this image. Wait. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Let me add that image, and that image, it should be inside this cards class. So let me just place it inside here. Place an image here coming from / images, and it should be called quotation like that. So let me save that, and it should be right there. Okay. Now, notice how this is positioned absolute within this card. So what I want to do is I want to give this card I want to position this card as relative so that I can position this image as absolute within this card and it doesn't affect all the other cards. So inside here, I'm going to say here relative like that. Oops, no, what am I doing? I'm so used to tailoring CSS. That's not a good idea. Okay, so let me go inside the cards class. Inside the cards class, and let me say for the cards class, actually it's already up here. I'm going to say position relative like that. And then for this image, I'm going to give this image a class. I'm going to give this image a class of quotes like that so that I can target it. And then right below this, I'm going to say for the cards, I want to target the quotes class like that and say position absolute within it, which will take it out of the normal flow of this card. So let me save that and notice that. And then I'm going to say position it to the right by 0. like that. Actually, not by 0, but we have 20 pixels on the right, so let me say position to the right by 20 pixels, like that. And then let me see how this design is. It's on the top by 0, so I'm going to say let position it to the top by 0, like that. And let me see if I can say z index of -1 to push it behind everything. No, that doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because this has a background color, so it's going behind the background color, which I don't want. Okay, let me add some, wait. Let me add, what's it called? Margin on the H4. So let me go back to my H4 here, remove these 10 pixels right there and add, let me say 20 pixels on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. Add some margin just so that this pushes down just a bit. Let me reduce the size of this, the quotes, and I'm going to say let this have a width of 50 pixels. That's too small. Yep, 150. Too big. 190. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's say 90 pixels. 90 pixels should be fine. That's big enough. Okay. So now that we have this, we already have the structure for all our cards. So all I have to do is just grab this cards class, which ends all the way here, and then just paste, copy and paste each of these in. So I'm going to say, just grab all of this, the cards class, just copy it, and then below this, paste this in. And then what I'm going to do is just substitute everything. So for the name here, grab the name and remove the name here. And remember, this doesn't have a quotes image. So let me remove this. Yeah, that should be fine. So there's also verified graduate. The team, grab this, paste it inside this H4. And then this is their quote, paste it inside here, like that. Okay, and then all you have to do is just repeat the same thing for the rest of the cards. So copy this down, paste it here, cut this out, paste it here. There's a lot of copying and pasting, but that's okay. That's already verified graduate. This is the H4, the H4. This is their quote and their quote. And then just grab this once again, copy, paste it down. And we need to do it 2 more times. So this is Patrick Adams. Paste it inside there. It's already verified. Okay. This is the H4. Cut it out. Paste it inside here. Get their quote. Paste it inside here. And then do it one final time. So copy this and paste it down. Grab this. And it should be here. And then this is already verified. Reduce these spaces. Grab the H4. Cut it out and paste it inside here. Grab the quote right there and then remove this and then just paste it inside there. Okay, so let me save this now. Once I save this, then all of them are going to have a purple background color, and we're going to fix that in a moment. So would you look at that? That's looking amazing. Okay, so what I want to do is, let me see, I had a container class housing everything, right? Now inside this container class, I want to display it as a grid. So I'm going to say display grid, and then grid template columns to repeat. Actually, you know what? I can say one fractional here. And then I'm going to say for the grid gap, let it be 10 pixels. 10 pixels, which will now push it away from one another. Too small, 20 pixels. 20 pixels is fine. Okay, and inside these cards, remember the cards have a box shadow, a very slight box shadow, I think. Very slight box shadow. So I'm going to say here box shadow, box dash shadow. And I'm going to say, how does box shadow go? It goes the hof, the vof, and the both, and then RGBA 0.5. Let me reduce this to 0.3. A very slight box shadow. And if you're wondering what HOF, VOF, and BOF are, that's just how that's just how I'm remembering the syntax for the box shadow. Okay. And actually, you know what? If you go down here and say box shadow, then you should get some. Oops. You should get something like. Really, it's not coming to me. You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And comment this, and then now we need to start dealing with the colors for each of these. So in our mobile design, you can see the first one has this bluish background color. So I'm going to go into my style guide right there, and the first one is going to be moderate violet. I think is this violet. Where's my image? Mobile design, open this up. Okay, so this is violet. That should be it. So inside my style guide, I'm going to copy this, and then inside my index HTML, I'm going to go into my first cards class, and I'm going to add here a class of violet like that. I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to go back into style CSS, and then I'm going to say remove this background color for each one of them. Excuse me. And I'm going to say that for the cards class and the one the cards class with the class of violet as well, I want the background color to be this. Paste that in, and it should change. Would you look at that? And then I'm going to go inside the second one, which has slight gray. I think dark grayish blue should be it. Cut this out. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't have cut them out really. Just copy them so that this file remains intact. And then I'm going to go inside my index HTML, and I'm going to go inside the second cards class, and here I'm going to say grayish dash blue. Save that, and then right below this I'm going to say cards dot grayish dash blue, like that. And I'm going to say the background color should be this, and look at that, looking very nice. And then for the third one is basically white, so that's okay. And then for the fourth one should now be this very dark blue, dark blackish blue. I'm going to go inside the index HTML. This one is the white color, so I'm going to go inside here. I'm going to say blackish dash blue, like that. And then right inside here, I'm going to target it, say cards dot blackish dash blue. I'm going to change the background color to this, and look at that. And then finally we have what's the final one? The final one is also white. Okay, so let me go inside my index HTML and give this a class of white, and then the final one as well, the final one here, give this a class of white, so that I can go inside my index HTML, and I'm going to say that for the cards class and the ones with the class of white, then I want the text color so that I can change the text color, and I'm going to change it to this. Should be fine, the same as this blackish blue. I think too dark. I think let me copy this, paste it inside here. Yeah, I think this is much better. Very slight, and looking, yeah, you know, looking nice. And I've just remembered that I didn't change the images. Let me do that in index HTML. This should not say Daniel, this should say Kira. This should say Patrick. This should say Jeanette. This should say Jonathan. Oops, Jonathan. And this is Daniel. So let me save that, and the images should now change. Look at that, looking very nice. Okay. Now, obviously, once you're done with this, then we're already done with the mobile version, because there's nothing really that we need to do. Nothing else we really need to do. But what I want to do is just scale it up a bit, and I'm going to go back into my style CSS, and I'm going to go right where I displayed my container as a grid, and I'm going to add a media query at the bottom, Right here, and I'm going to say media for a min width of 640 pixels. Then I want the container to have grid template columns repeating twice and one fractional each. So right about, oh wait, there you go. There shouldn't be any space right there because it's technically a function. So that we have this. Now I'm just going to leave it at this because on bigger screens is where the challenge will come, where for the desktop preview, notice how we want to display our grid. So this is how we want to display our grid on big screens, right? And what I'm going to do is right away, right at about, actually, I'm just going to do the big screens next because there's no point in really continuously scaling it up. And I'm going to say that this is a grid of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is it? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do that. Go back inside my style CSS. And I'm going to say for, actually, let me just copy this down. And I'm going to say that for 1280 pixels, then I want this to repeat as 4 fractional columns so that we have this. Okay, now this is where the challenge is going to begin because we want this to span these 2 columns, right? So I'm going to go inside my container. I'm going to target the cards class and the cards class with the class of violet. And I'm going to say grid column should, wait, what's the syntax? Should start from 1 to 3. There you go. Okay, so that we are saying that for the card with the class of violet, then we want its grid to start from the first grid all the way to the third grid. So it's counting as 1 and then 2 and then 3, so that we have this. And then this is this should be fine as it is. Let me just check this. We don't need mobile design. We are on the desktop now. So this is fine. And then finally, this is the last. Remember that this is the last grid, right? So what we want to do is target the last grid, and I'm going to go inside my index HTML and go all the way to the last grid, which has Kira, and I'm going to say, let me just give this a class of last. Yeah, last should be fine. And then I'm going to go inside my style CSS, and I'm going to say that for the cards class and the one that has the class of last, then I should say the grid row should be, it should start from the third one to the fifth one. Let's see that. Oops. Let me say here grid column should be the third one. Is that the syntax? Oh, this is hard. I don't want this to happen. I want this to start from the first one. There you go, the first one, and this should say 4. Okay, so it starts from the first one all the way. This should say 4 as well. I think 4 should be fine. Are we okay? Let's say 3. Wait, is this even changing? Oh, okay, it is changing. So this should say 3, so that's okay. Let me see how this is structured. So more padding is added here, and then the line height is increased so that it goes all the way to the bottom. So we are going to do that in a moment. No worries. And then finally, we want to target this so that it spans from this second one to the fourth one. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, so we are going to say this has a class. What does Patrick Adams class? It's blackish blue. So I'm going to say that right above this, I'm going to say for the cards class, and I'm targeting blackish blue, then I want the grid column to start from the second one to the fourth one. And it should do that. Look at that, looking very nice. Okay, and then finally, the last thing that I want to do is I want to go inside my container, and at 1280 pixels, then I want to add a max width. So a max width of 1100 pixels, 1100, so that this pushes inwards and it go to the left. And then we want to position it to the center. So I'm going to say margin of auto, which should now center it like that. And then I want to add a margin on the top as well. So right inside here, I'm going to say margin on the top of 50 pixels, and actually on the top and bottom, so that's fine. Pushes it down just a bit. Okay, and this looks a bit tight squeeze, so let me say 1200. Okay, so that's looking nice, and already this is already positioned as well as it could be, really. Now all what's remaining, I didn't change the font. So inside style guide, you'll find that we have a font, and the background color does have a color as well, right? It has a color of, the body has a background color. What am I saying? It has a color of, is it light gray or light grayish blue? Let me go inside the body. Inside here, we're just going to test it. So right inside above the content, I'm going to say for the body, the background color should be this. And there we go. That's the correct background color. Wait. That would mean that I need to target this because these are taking up the background color of the body. So I'm going to say right inside the cards dot white, inside here, I'm going to say the background color should be white as well. There you go. So that it doesn't take up the background color of the body. And then what else do we need to do? Let me just confirm this. This is positioned properly, as you can see, because it's positioned absolute within this relative class. Okay, so all we need to do is just change the font. So we need to get this font Barlow semi-condense 500 and 600. So let's see that. So we need to get the 500 and the 600. Copy this import, paste it inside our style CSS at the top, and then say the body should have a font family of Barlow semi-condensed and a fallback of sans serif. And there we go. So we have our font, and this shouldn't have a 700 font weight. So let me target the paragraphs, and I'm going to say the font weight should be 500. Really? That doesn't change anything. Let me target the H1s, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. I know that I haven't used all of them really, but that's okay. There doesn't even seem to be a difference. Let me just add a line height on the paragraphs because these are too close to one another. So I'm going to say for the paragraph, I'm going to add a line height of 1.6. Push it away from, that's too big. 5.4. 0.4 should be fine. 0.4 should be fine. And all of this is displaying properly. That looks nice. Okay, so I think that will be it really for our grid section, because that's all we have to do now. I'm not going to submit this to Frontend Mentor because I've already done this project before, so I don't really need to submit it again because that's kind of cheating, and you don't really get any points, by the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to end the stream basically because that's all I wanted to do for today. Now, I do realize that I didn't do the crowdfunding. I didn't finish the crowdfunding challenge that I began yesterday, but that's okay because I'm going to finish it probably tomorrow or the next day or the next. But don't worry, I'm going to continue it on stream, and then I'm going to upload it to YouTube as well if in case you missed the stream. So that will be it, guys. Thank you for following. Thank you for catching up with the stream. And once again, if you're on YouTube, I apologize because my bell currently doesn't work because apparently my channel is made for kids according to YouTube, and I don't really understand why. So as I work to fix that, then I ask that you subscribe to the channel. so that you keep on getting the newest uploads in your subscription feed. And then you can follow me on Twitter as well, so that you can get updates on when I'm going live or when a new video is coming out. And if you head over to my YouTube as well, on my channel, there's a discussion tab. I usually post updates there as well in case you missed it, because I don't have access to community posts once again, because my channel apparently is made for kids. So thank you for watching. Thank you guys for following the stream, and I will see you in the next stream.